Welcome. This is 30 Minutes of Truth for Life with Pastor Poole, pastor of the Bethesda Baptist Church located in Muskegon, Michigan. Join Bethesda each week on this station as we meet the challenge of change through Truth for Life. And now, Pastor Poole.
I want to share with you some thoughts about the ultimate life source, who is God.
Amen.
And as we share, I hope we will think of ourselves rather than to think about others who have not been able to provide the example of leaning on the Lord. Who among us is so strong in faith that he's ready to do anything that he's asked to do? Who among us is willing to take on a task that calls for our complete surrender? Who among us will approach that without some fear, without some experience of uncertainty? Not I. And I think you too would testify you would not be able to do so fully either. But yet, David says, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. So why should I be afraid?" We're called to turn over his statement, to understand how we ought to proceed with our lives by knowing what caused him to believe that he need not be afraid of the future. Isn't that unknown moment, isn't that where our fear lay? We don't know what's going to happen when we engage. We don't know how things are going to come out when we lay ourselves open to perform and to cause to be that which we are called to bring together. Fear is a terrible thing.
Yes, it is.
Fear is a terrible thing. And it is represented by suggestion here that it is about darkness. It is about lack of light, not being able to truly see what is ahead. Fear is about not knowing whether I have the skills. Fear is about not knowing whether I have someone who is with me to help me. Fear is about the darkness that I'm thrown into because of my lack of knowledge. Fear is that thing that makes me act in a way that even I don't expect of myself. The door is opened here. That really says to me, there is no need to be afraid. Why should I be afraid? I need not be afraid because surrendered Jesus Christ, God, is providing whatever I need to answer the call that is made to me. Now I want to go the next step. It's hard to wait on God and do what he says. One of the difficult things in our growing up and in our lives as adults is patience. I want it right now. I don't want to find out about it. I want it now. And because we don't seem to recognize the tools that is given to us, we flounder. We flounder because we are not willing to believe that he who calls us will support us. I think David was made, well, not actually, but David was made a king, anointed at 15 years old. But he did not actually become king until he was 30. Think of what happens through 15 years of waiting. Of waiting to become what you've been anointed to be.
Yeah.
What a dark period.
Yeah.
What a dark period. How do I find out how to do what I'm asked to do?
Yeah.
And that is wait 15 years, even though I've been anointed to be what I was anointed to be.
Yeah.
tough time. Hard to accept. But yet, there are words that help us to know that we should prayerfully still seek the goal.
Amen.
And while we are in a weakened state, we are reminded that we can be strong. We can hold on to the joy of the call, even though we don't understand everything about it. We can still hold on to that we are challenged to be. For he who calls on the Lord, even though he is in darkness, the Lord will renew his strength. And it seems to me that those of us who are anticipating the glory land must come to understand the importance of the light that we have to wait on God, even though we are in these dark periods. I would ask you today, has he ever promised anything that he has not done? Raise your hand. What God has promised for us, he has provided.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has.
We may not like the way it came around,
Amen.
but what he has promised, he has done. He has promised to be with us always. But there are times that we have not recognized that even though it seems that we are failing, he's still with us. And how would I know how to appreciate the good things in my life unless there were moments of suffering? How could I ever really, truly appreciate these lights unless there were darkness? David says, I want to dwell in your house all the days of my life. And he approaches that with a knowledge that you cannot truly know God unless you dwell in his house.
Mm-hmm.
You'd never know about your mother if you ran away from your house. People in your family, you'd never know them if you left your house. David says, I want to live in your house, because it is in your house that I find the direction and the strength that I need. I learned the answer to why I should not tremble. I should not tremble or be afraid, because you are my fortress. God, you are my fortress. God, you're the strength of my life. God, you're everything to me. God, you're my future. Lord, you're my protection. You're everything that I long for. And so then, the lesson to truly learn is that God is with us in our darkness, but we need to recognize him. God is with us in our darkness, but we need to recognize him. Verse 2, when evil people come to devour me, when my enemies and my foes attack me, they stumble and fall. Verse 3, though a mighty army surround me, my heart will not be afraid. Even if I am attacked, I will remain confident. Sometimes we only see the blessings in what we recognize as the gift. But we have to wait on the gift. And we don't always know what happens between the time of the promise and the time of the receipt. God has many ways of bringing us to the point where we become mature. And he does not always bring us to the point of maturity by showering on us all the gifts of life at one time. He tells us that they're there, but then we must have the confidence to wait to receive them.
Yes.
How would any one of us in here have not been anxious and nervous and bothered if we had been anointed at 15 and had to wait until we were 30 to sit on the throne? We'd say to ourselves, who's that crazy fellow? 15 years? Why did you do that to me so early? Why did you put me in this position? Why did you cause me to be anxious? Why did you let me live in the darkness, not have knowledge of what was to come? Only that you'd anointed me king. Well, don't get disturbed. The Lord will hide you in his sanctuary. He will place you on a high rock out of reach, where the things of this world will not destroy you, if you believe and have faith in him. And so with the loss of those 49 lives the other day, the mutilation of those young children's bodies, with the uncertainty of what was going to happen even following that surge of evil, there is still the truth. The Lord is my light and my salvation. So why should I be afraid? Why should you be afraid of your Christian journey? Sometimes we must recognize it is only that we have experienced the tough times that we know how to appreciate the good times. Sometimes we have to acknowledge it is only because we have had days in the darkness that we can appreciate the light. And so when I come to reason about who I am, I see I want to live in his house all the days of my life. I want to be where he is forever. I want to be within the sound of his command so that I will not stray. I want to have a thirst for life, so that ultimately the darkness will be disrupted with the light of my knowledge. If you know the Lord, you'll have strength. The Lord is my light. Know him. And because he is my light, he's my salvation, my freedom from the imprisonment of all else in the world that causes doubts and fears. Therefore, I will not fear, because the Lord is my light. He shows me the way. And when I stray, he reaches out, brings me back, puts me in a safe place, feeds my spirit, causes me to have faith into waiting until that great day. How can you really live with him if you're not in his house? How can you really live with Christ unless you know his word? How can you really appreciate him unless there's the partnership of prayer? And so today I say to you, the Lord is my light and my salvation. So why should I be afraid? The Lord is my fortress, protecting me from danger. So why should I tremble? When evil people come to devour me, when my enemies and my foes attack me, they will stumble and fall. Though a mighty army surround me, my heart will not be afraid. The one thing I ask of the Lord, the thing I seek, is to live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, delighting in the Lord's perfection and meditating in his temple. What is your desire? That's David's. What is your desire? Is your faith of such that you can say today, the Lord is my light, and because he is, then I will hold my head high above all my enemies who surround me. At this sanctuary, I will offer sacrifices and shouts of joy. So David calls us in this worship to shout for joy because of our knowledge of the word and our partnership in faith. The Lord is our salvation.
Count on Malone Media Productions for all your professional video needs. Services include sports filming and editing, professional documentaries and presentations, promotional videos and infomercials, job fair and recruitment videos, video consultation and training, portrait videos for all your precious moments, church and business commercials, as well as 4-camera wedding and event filming. Contact Cottrell Malone of Malone Media Productions for a free promotional DVD and quote.